Like, we sadly live in a country where money goes into the wrong hands, and people think there's not money in sports. There's a lot of money in sports.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't end up in the hands of the actual stakeholders.
Somehow, I don't even know why and how, but it kind of got bifurcated where football was always a boys' sport.
Yeah.
And like other sports, netball, that was always a girls' sport, right? It was like a mindset thing.
Yeah. So what society puts monetary value on. So it's like sports is not recognized as something that has value in this sort of materialistic world, to be very honest. And then that perpetuates even more, because then you don't invest in it, and you don't put your kids in it, and then that's just, another cycle that keeps going on. Someone has to break it. How do you break it? Like,
our national players don't take football that seriously. Like, I mean, they're just proud of being in the national team. Like he said that, had I played 10 years more, where would I be?
Right.
So her mindset is, I want to be the best, rather than just being in the national team and being called a pro player for the sake of it.
If there was one sport that you guys could play for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I think football, obviously.
Football.
Football?
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to Freestyling at CityFM89. It's, a podcast where we talk to really cool people doing really cool things. And you guys are here to talk to me about the really, really cool things that you guys do. Okay? So, but before we get into that, please introduce yourselves to all of those watching.
Okay, I'll go first. My name is Soha Hirani, and 27 years old, even though I look very young. Currently, I play for Karachi City Football Club and also the Pakistan women's national team. Been playing football for 10 or 12 years. Obviously, loved it my whole life, and weirdly chose to pursue it as a professional thing, even though it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. But yeah, that's a bit about me.
So my name is Shazib, and I'm the co-founder of Karachi City Football Club. So I've been playing for about 20 years, and then I decided about 5 years ago to start my own club and academies. So that's why we're here.
And both straight out of Karachi, so it makes sense. Karachi-based club, it's like your own thing, it's your own baby.
Yeah, strangely enough, we actually grew up playing for the same club, which was probably the only club back then, but we ended up in the same place.
So that's where you guys
again.
met?
No, we didn't.
Pretty later on.
We met
actually.
4 years ago when he started the club.
Right, very cool.
So,
We used to play for Karachi United, and then obviously we made our own club. She used to play over there, and then we sort of made our own thing, and all of these guys joined us over here.
Very cool. Like, okay, so I want to start with the origins of your club. So yes, you guys used to play. You were passionate about it. It was something that you would, it was a part of your lives. Starting a club, it's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially in a place like Pakistan, where it's not embedded, like there's no industry, there's no like proper people who came before you, and there's a whole system like you have in England or you have in Europe, there are other places in the world where there's a whole like system where there are many clubs, and there's constantly tournaments happening and this and that. So early stages, what was it like? Like, what were you expecting when you first started it?
Basically, I own another club as well, but that's more recreational. It's more focused on the small-sided game. It's called Abdul FC. It's a futsal club.
Right.
And then I met Adil, who's my partner, and he is the coach of the national women's team as well.
Yeah.
So then we decided that we should open up a professional club, and but obviously it was hard because opening clubs over here isn't that easy. Having your own stadium, with the finances involved as well.
Right.
So it was hard. We started small, but mashallah, we're at 7 places now, and our women's team is doing wonders. So we're very happy with what we've done.
Lovely. And the focus was always like encouraging the women's side of it?
Yeah, definitely. Because we thought that it was a very untapped market.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very easy because we obviously knew all of these ladies as well. And Adil coached them in Karachi United, so it was easier to get them. And that's why we started with the women's, and then our primary focus was just to start a women's team.
Right. Every time I watch the World Cup, there's this weird thing inside me where I'm like, now I want to play. And then slowly it dies out. I've played sports my whole life on and off here and there, but like with football, it was always like that fascination because the World Cup, like there's so many emotions attached.
Yeah.
And you're always like, but my team isn't there, but I'm supporting like all these other countries and this and that. And like, so what was it about football like that attracted you? Like when you first like opened your eyes and you were like, that's the sport.
Yeah, I think weirdly enough, I feel like I was born to feel this way. Like, I know living in Pakistan, I came across it in my teens, which is very late.
Yeah.
But my whole life growing up, I had this weird connection to football. Like I would play in the backyard with my brother and all his guy friends, and I've been watching Arsenal since I was 7, 8 years old because my brother was a big fan.
I was gonna ask
Yeah.
what team were
Arsenal,
you
yeah.
supporting later on, but like.
So it just felt like growing up, like I've always been attracted to sport, just
Yeah.
never had any avenue to play it or pursue it. So it's just weirdly one of those things. That's the reason I can't give up on it, honestly. Is like, I always say this, any rational human being in Pakistan is not going to choose to pursue a sport over
Yeah.
here. And it's just that connection I have to football, which I can't get rid of,
Speaking of that aspect, the rational aspect, the logical
Yeah.
aspect, why is it that when all of us think about sports and we're like, okay, I want to do this professionally, I feel like I'm really good at it and I want to get into it professionally, apart from, say, maybe cricket,
Yeah.
or now with athletics also, you don't really get there. Like, you have a couple of heroes who've made it,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
made it on their own. And then the conversation starts, and then it doesn't go anywhere. वो tournament होता है, tournament पे everyone starts talking about it, and then everyone gets distracted and
Yeah,
moves on to
hype
other
dies down.
things. Why is it that we haven't gotten around to actually setting up proper bodies or proper ways of? I mean, apart from you guys who kind of took it upon yourself and you were like, no, you know what? Like you growing up, for example,
Yeah.
there were no opportunities as such apart from school mein karwa rahe hain ya
Yeah.
jo bhi. There wasn't a body where you could go and get proper coaching and then move your way up. Now, thanks to you guys, there is, So why is it that there isn't more of it and it's not more well thought of?
Yeah, I mean, the rational thing that you were talking about, the reason it doesn't feel like a rational choice is you know what you're signing up for when you pursue a sport. You've heard the stories. I mean, honestly, like sometimes if I'm in a career, I see a guy who wants to be a professional bodybuilder and he talks about how miserable his life is, and then you see recently we had some stories coming out about football players making jalebis on the street, and
Really?
people who have broken their bones and messed up their knees and they don't have money to get a surgery.
And these are international players, so obviously.
And
that's
these are
really sad.
players playing at the top level, some of the best players in the country.
My
So
God.
it's just like when you grow up hearing those kinds of stories and you see all the pain that athletes go through physically, mentally, it just rationally, it is not a good choice to sign up for a life where you're putting yourself through that pain and not making much money and also not getting much reward for all the effort you're putting into it. So it comes down to that, but obviously, like you said, why haven't we set up all the structures and all the systems in place? A lot of it goes down to corruption, honestly. Like, I think that's the basic answer is, like, we sadly live in a country where money goes into the wrong hands, and people think there's not money in sports. There's a lot of money
There's
in
a lot of
sports,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't end up in the hands of the actual stakeholders.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when we talk about football or any other sport, except for the players, everyone else makes money. So that's the funny thing about sports in
Interesting.
Pakistan is like the last people to get any financial or monetary reward is the players themselves.
Wow.
They're the last thought.
Whereas there are examples of players all over the world
They're the superstars.
that are the
They
superstars.
dictate the terms. Over here,
Exactly.
we die for anything we get. We're like taking all the small pieces that they offer us. We're so scared of losing our sport that we take anything we can get.
Yeah, that's true. They take away the power.
Yeah.
They kind of
Yeah,
tie your hands behind
Players
your
don't
back.
have the power, and they kind of rely on your love for the game because
Yeah.
they know that you love it so much that you're not going to give up on it. You'll be forced to keep going with that. Like,
Okay, sad. But I mean, the good thing is that you guys are fighting the good fight. Step 1, make a club.
Yeah.
Step 2, start the process from ground up, and then step 3 is take it further and further and further. I mean, you guys are role models essentially for the next couple of generations that might just, you never know, in the next 2-3 decades there might be proper systems, and they might just wake up to the fact if enough of us talk about it.
yeah.
So there's hope.
I
There's
mean, yeah,
always,
definitely.
I don't think, honestly, like him and Adil on the club, they don't even do it to be role models. It's like, it just
It happens by default, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean-
considering they've set up a club,
Yeah, exactly.
now kids have a place to
Yeah.
go, and
Like,
they have a place to
the
learn
intent
and enjoy
is very
it.
pure. Like, it's like slightly selfish in that you want to, like, for me, I want to pursue football, so it's that, but it's like a very like you want this for girls, you want this for boys, you want a safe space where they can play. And
Look, growing up, it was very like somehow, I don't even know why and how, but it kind of got bifurcated where football was always a boys' sport.
yeah,
And like other sports, netball, this, that, was
Yeah.
always a girl sport, right? It
Yeah.
was like a mindset thing,
yeah,
even though it's not. And
Yeah.
now, in this day and age, every sport is there's no gender
Mhm.
involved.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing that like little girls, like I know a lot of my friends and their little kids, the girls all want to play, so then they
Yeah.
put them in these programs and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of their kids come to your programs as well.
Yeah, I think the dynamics have changed, and with the new clubs and all the places we have, the security level that has increased, it has made parents feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
And with players like Soha, who are actually role models by default, but they are.
Yeah.
So
You may be humble about it, but it's
yeah,
happening.
I think people do look up to them, and
Of
they're
course.
superstars. We're obviously very proud of them, and then now people look up to them. They're like, oh, we want to be like her.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people coming in,
Mhm.
and I think we have about 50 girls playing, 50 to 60 girls. We have a paid program for them, and we have a free program as well. So I think
Lovely.
we have given opportunities to everybody,
Yeah.
and I think it's just people. You need to take initiatives, and once you do, doors open automatically. There's no
Absolutely.
rocket science actually.
Absolutely. No, more power to you guys. And I know you're being very humble about it, but like, the last time I saw like all these girls, we were talking about this off air. I saw like all these girls playing like at one of these places. There was a whole team playing together. Usme professional players bhi the, usme their friends were also the
Yeah.
amateur ones. And I was just standing there and I was watching, and it made me like I felt like I could also do that.
Yeah.
Just watching them. So it is very inspiring without you guys even meaning for it to be inspiring.
Yeah.
It's cool to see like people just like you up there running around. I mean, obviously not like me. I'm very unfit. You guys were way
no,
more fit.
I get what you're saying, because anytime I see like girls playing tennis properly, or
Yeah.
I see some track and field runner, I see anyone
Yeah.
at the gym even, I see like someone at the gym with some really cool muscles, and I get inspired myself. I'm like,
Right.
like there, I go to a gym in Clifton, and it's a very athletic gym, and I see all these athletes, female athletes who
Mhm.
are pursuing their sports, and I get inspired too every day, seeing them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That said, I mean, generally with the women's football team, okay, let's first talk about how you got into like the national
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, so the national team, interesting story, started properly in 2022. Prior to that, the last time they had played was 8 years before, in
Mhm.
2014, which is when I properly started playing football. Pakistan had been banned by FIFA for a really long time. There was no women's football at the international level, so 2022, things started happening again. And because I had been involved in the domestic scene for so long, I tried out and I made it to the national team, alhamdulillah. So that's where it started.
Very cool. I remember when the story broke, because we do e-news and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
this story popped up and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then the whole
Yeah.
8-year ban, and I
Yeah.
went into a deep dive and I
Yeah.
checked up on it, and I was like, this is really cool. And then you guys played a couple of matches and
Yeah.
stuff, and we
Yeah.
followed it, and we were talking about it constantly, because you don't hear about this stuff
Mhm.
every day,
Yeah.
right? Like you hear about other things happening and lots of other,
Yeah.
but it's always male teams. Nobody
Yeah.
actually focuses, and a lot of people are very excited to see the women's team and promote them and push them.
Yeah.
Similarly, even with the cricket women's team, a lot of people are getting more and more into it and like
Mhm.
supporting it. But there are still challenges, right? What kind of challenges do you guys? I mean, apart from the bureaucracy and
Yeah.
all of that, what other challenges are there?
I think you
How
can
long?
answer that
How
better.
long? How long do we have? I think for me personally, as a professional, the biggest challenge is lack of opportunities to play. Shazib knows this really well. We train all year. We train very hard every single day, and the tournaments we get to play, the number of matches we get, that's like the biggest issue for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think generally, I will give credit to the last body that's worked in the federation, because they got in a big change. I think
Right.
the amount of matches these girls played in the last 3 years is more than what the women's team has, I think, ever played.
Mm.
Right.
And I think now, with the way the federation was working, they have proved, the women, that they're actually much better. They're performing much better than the men's team. So they have been given the opportunities.
Yeah, but then on the local level, in terms of pushing ourselves to become better athletes, what we do in the club is we play matches with boys
Yeah.
under 16, under 18.
I think we run in a very different
in a very
way.
different
Yeah.
way, just to make sure that we can be the best versions of ourselves
Yeah.
as
That's
athletes.
cool, right?
Obviously.
It's cool, but it's not normal. Like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I wake up and we figuring out how to
Yeah.
have the next match and how to make the
Yeah,
girls
because the
better.
arrangements is, you know, like
And
we're
then-
going at 6 a.m.
Yeah,
to
we
Malay
have to
play.
wake up and go an hour away because there's not enough grounds over here, or they're not available for women to play. And sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I wish we could have a normal lifestyle in which we have a proper league,
Yeah.
in which we train as a team, and in which we can just, you know, not have to think about the day-to-day of how to pursue the sport.
So what I'm understanding from all of this, and just to make sense of it all, is in any sport, your training is one aspect, but then playing against other people,
Exactly.
that actually helps you build your skills and you build your strategy
Yeah.
and stuff. Because training is
Yeah.
is like you're essentially in a
Exactly,
box.
yeah.
You're doing the same
Yeah.
kind of
Mhm.
training every single day. But it's when you are thrown into another situation, playing against players that you've never played against, constantly, that helps you build it up,
But
right?
that's
and that's
the
not
problem we
happening.
have, right? Because we don't really have an
That
opponent.
many.
We don't have players
Yeah.
to play against.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why we're playing with boys.
And that's why we also struggle when we go for the national team. We struggle because we don't have the same experience playing proper matches that
Right.
the other girls have. So when we first show up to the match, it takes us time to, you know, like
Adjust.
understand
Settle in,
the
yeah.
intensity, because like you said, training you do every day, it's similar, but matches are uncomfortable situations, and that's where you grow. And the more
Yeah,
you play, the more you learn.
You can't predict what a player from another country is going to
Exactly.
do on that
Exactly.
Exactly,
field.
unless you've been through matches enough to
Yeah.
have that sort of experience to be able to adjust in the moment. You know?
I'm really glad that
Yeah.
we're talking about, because you know, usually when you have interviews and stuff and people
Mhm.
talk, they always talk about the big stuff,
Mhm.
or funding, or you know, fields,
Yeah.
not enough places to go and play, and this and that. But this is also a really big challenge,
Yeah.
because people, on the other hand, like for example, if someone's reading an article, they're like, oh, the women's team lost again. They're going to be like, oh, ye to haarte rehte hain,
Mhm.
or that's the first initial response, right? But what they don't understand is the back end of it all. Why
Exactly, yeah.
is it happening? No one
Yeah.
actually digs into
But like
all the
generally-
other issues that you guys
But
have.
generally, I think with Pakistan, I'm generally in all sports harte hi hain. I don't
Yeah,
remember
that's-
us winning.
That's true. These days, though, it's really.
Like you
but
look at cricket
Yeah,
as well.
But like she said,
Yeah.
people
no,
don't realize
but
why.
no one
right?
actually goes and asks
Yeah.
you
Why?
why it happened and how can we help to fix the situation.
I think we're just losing it as a country. I mean, you just don't look at sports even with other things.
Yeah.
I think there's corruption in every single department that's going on, and we don't give opportunities to our people.
I think it's more than that. It's also a lack of taking it seriously.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the
Like,
mindset exactly like you
If
said.
you look at like Russia, you look at
Mhm.
the even China and stuff, you look at Olympics, the countries, they
Yeah.
spend like from every minute of every day, like when kids are like born,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they start their training because
Yeah.
they're like, this child is going to go to the Olympics and win
I
a
guess
gold
it's like
medal.
a weird cycle where it perpetuates itself, because like you said, there are countries that are corrupt that play really well actually.
Yeah.
There are a lot of countries who do
It's
that.
what you
but
give
yeah, it's
focus
like
to.
what society puts monetary value on. So it's like sports is not recognized as something that has value in this sort of materialistic world, to be very honest.
Right.
And then that perpetuates even more, because then you don't invest in it, and you don't put your kids in it, and then that's just, you know, another cycle that keeps going on. Someone has to break it. But how do you break it? Like,
So randomly, just when you said this, random question popped
Yeah.
into my head. Parents who put their kids into teddy tennis or
Yeah.
football or whatever when they're from a very young age, they're doing it as an activity
exactly.
to get their kids out, and like they're not doing it as a training for you to
Exactly.
one day keep at it and become pro,
Mhm.
maybe even get a scholarship and then go abroad.
Exactly.
They're not even thinking along those
Exactly,
lines. These days, in this day and age, scholarships are a very real thing
Mhm.
because not everyone can afford to go abroad or even go attend college and stuff. There are sports scholarships all over the world, and a lot of athletes, they start with sports scholarships. That's something that like I don't think parents even think it through.
Exactly.
And you're supposed to think about it from a very young age, because kids are supposed to. I wish my parents had put me in any sport from a very young age and given me that training,
Yeah.
so that at some point in life I could become a pro and add that pro title to my
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
You know, like that's all I want, but it can't happen
No,
now.
exactly.
So you have the pro title. You're lucky.
No, but I
you
catch
worked at
myself
it.
thinking as well, you know, it's like, okay, I'm very grateful that I made it to this level, but I think, okay, if my parents had put me in football 10 years before,
Yeah.
where would I be?
Yeah.
I would be somewhere else beyond this level. And I know people think this is a great level to be at, but for me, I think if we had that kind of society in which parents thought, okay, I know my kid is athletic, let me put them and let this be their career. I catch myself finding that regret. I know you can't change things, and my parents did the best they could, but even I catch myself thinking that maybe I could have been at a club abroad if that had happened.
So the kids that you guys mentor and as part of Karachi City, like the little kids that come, I'm sure the parents are like, "Haan, bas activity karwa do," and that's
I think
it.
if we're being very honest, I think we have about 1,000 kids, and like you said,
Yeah.
I think apart from 4 or 5 kids who are not even that talented, come with the mindset that we want to be in the national team. They're just there for the sake of it. Oh, we need some activity. We're just playing for fun.
Right.
It's more recreation.
Right.
And like Soha said, I think she is one of the best we have in the country. But even our national players don't take football that seriously. Like, I mean, they're just proud of being in the national team. Like she said that, had I played 10 years more, where would I be?
Right.
So her mindset is, I want to be the best, rather than just being in the national team and being called a pro player for the sake of it.
I think it's also a matter of career, right?
Yeah.
Like because you can't make it a career,
Yeah.
there's always a split in your head.
And sorry
You
to
have to have a side
No,
gig in
I
order to sustain yourself.
I think, sorry to interrupt.
No.
Actually, the thing is, I think Soha is best that, she works, she has her business as well, but we do have a lot of players in the national team who are actually happy with what they're getting out of the sport.
Okay.
Like, they're playing for departments and all, they're playing for Wabd and Army.
Right.
But when we talk about mindset, they're just happy. Shazi bhai bas team mein naam aa gaya, bahut hai. Bas camp ho gaya.
And honestly, I don't know if you can blame them for that because they don't have that education
I'm not
or
blaming them at all,
exposure.
but
I know
that's
you're
the
not,
mindset.
Exactly.
Exposure is
It's like
also,
I've been very lucky to be exposed to different levels of professional sport, and also I can't expect everyone to have the same passion for football.
Yeah.
I understand that, like I can't have that expectation from everyone, but I catch myself thinking like maybe if they had that exposure to see what things really are at the next level, they would be more ambitious. I mean, how can we expect them to know something that they've never seen?
That's true.
Maybe they don't know what the next level is, or like why would they want to get there if they're happy making that much money?
Exactly, because I think we need to be ambitious, and this isn't where our end game should be.
Exactly,
we're in the national team. Because if we are being very honest about sports scholarships, like you mentioned, I think if you go into football, I think universities in the US, they don't even consider our national team being eligible for a sports scholarship.
Very few people.
The thing is, these kids also, without knowing, most of these kids probably don't even know that they can get a sports scholarship.
Yeah.
They think this is it. This is all we can get.
Yeah.
We'll go do the trainings. We'll play a couple of matches. We'll win or lose or whatever, and that's it. That's our. And then our parents are saying, "Beta, go be a doctor.
Because like you said, we don't have enough success stories for them to know that, right? Like people, you said people are not tapping this sports scholarship thing, so there's no success stories. What do they see even?
There may not be success stories there, because the systems aren't in place. But there is people like you, which is a success story sitting right here in front of us, and there's a reason that we would love for other people to also get to know you a little bit better, so that they can actually see, okay, you can do it. You can get there.
I think the mindset has definitely changed in the last 3-4 years.
For sure,
I think now when you look
see
at
a lot
Karachi
more
City,
girls playing.
When you talk about Karachi City, it's like, oh, the best women's team. Oh, they have Soha, they have all of these girls, and even yesterday she was playing with boys our age as well. So I think the mindset has changed, and I think facilities like Legends and all, you have good people coming in, it's safe, the environment is good, the facility is amazing. So that has encouraged us.
There are a lot more facilities now than when I was growing up.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I was young, we didn't know where to play.
School.
That
was it. The school ground,
the
and
roads.
that was a multi-purpose ground.
The roads.
Sab kuch
The roads are,
Yeah.
we were just playing here and there.
Yeah.
So it is going towards the right direction, I'd say, because it's a process. You can't just go at the top. It's going to take some time.
Many years.
Many years.
That's a lot of cultures.
Exactly, and it's really interesting to see how they represent Pakistan and hold on to. Like you would expect them to be more whitewashed, let's say, but some of them are actually much more Pakistani. They're much more desi than us, and it's really weirdly inspiring to see that as well. It's like how much that Pakistani identity means to them, and that also inspires me. Is like, first of all, seeing the level they're at. Obviously, they are better than us in terms of their skill and technical ability, all that stuff. But seeing how they're willing to mentor us and on a day-to-day basis teach us how they got there, how we can get there, that for me is always inspiring. And people always ask me questions, how do they fit in, or are they like mean or whatever, are they getting annoyed that you guys aren't as good as them? But no, like, I really do get inspired playing with them because of their patience and their willingness to invest in that project, to take that ownership that, yeah, like, I'm gonna try to use my ability, my experience to make our team better and push ourselves. A lot of the good results we get are a lot in, like, because of them and participating.
It's also like an exchange, right?
Exactly,
of
yeah.
like they learn from you, you
Yeah.
learn from them, and somewhere along the way, because I'm assuming training is intense,
exactly.
right?
Oh, it's
You're
very intense.
practically
Yeah.
living together and
Yeah,
like
you live in the same hotel.
fighting. Everything
We're
is
not.
happening.
We're not allowed to leave the hotel. Like, you know, we're
The
together.
rules are pretty strict.
We have no
Yeah.
phones at lunch, dinner. We're
Oh,
not allowed
really?
phones at meetings. Not allowed phones on the bus during trainings.
So
we
only
have
phone when you're like just
in
about
the
to go to
room.
bed.
Yeah.
When you're in the room.
Yeah.
And we have a bedtime. We have a very strict diet.
Really?
We're always together, and we're like you're.
I think the national women's team is being managed really well,
Yeah.
and they have
That's
a lot
excellent.
of SOPs,
Yeah.
and that's one reason why the results
That's
are
very
going
professional
towards the, yeah,
It
to
is.
have like a
Definitely.
diet plan, to have like
Exactly.
and another
Yeah.
thing that like I mean, and this is something that we've discussed in the past, because at one point I was looking at different kind of career paths when I was like studying, and sports physiotherapist was one of them, and I was like, interesting, that's really a
Yeah.
very cool. But abroad it's like a thing, you have
Oh
to
my
have
God, yeah,
one.
yeah.
So do you guys have one?
I
do you
can,
do your own?
I can
You do
talk
your
about
own?
this so much because that's one thing I really struggle with is finding a sports physiotherapist here. Like, currently
aren't
I'm
enough?
actually working with someone remotely from a different country just because I wasn't able to find that level of physiotherapy that I require.
Please look into the camera. Tell the kids
Yeah.
that you guys need to change
No,
career
honestly-
paths. There is a big gap in the market, guys.
Oh, definitely.
It's not like a
100%.
gap, it's just non-existent. Like, sports physiotherapy,
Fair.
and people don't realize the day-to-day pain that an athlete goes through, and that requires every single day, like, you taking religiously taking care of your
Right.
body. And because of that gap, I've had to educate myself in a way where I tell Shazib I spend at least 2 or 3 hours taking care of my body every single day on my own, whether it's taking ice baths or stretching or using compression boots or like doing my knee exercises, my ankle exercises. But that's not our job, and we've had to go
There
into
should
I
that.
be
think
someone there to
she's one
guide
in
you.
10 who takes that much care.
Yeah.
But I have to.
No, but
I
the
have no
thing
option.
is, if you don't, it cuts your career
Yeah.
short
Exactly.
by 10 years,
Exactly.
by 5 years, because
100%.
I mean, there is so much strain going into your body as an
Exactly.
athlete. If I'm climbing the stairs up and down every day,
In
my
fact,
knees are
yeah.
going to be, they'll take me another 10 years.
Yeah.
But if an athlete is playing 2 matches, it'll be
And
like
You need to
equivalent.
take care of your
Sorry
body.
to,
Obviously,
like,
I'm sweeping
and
statements, please. I'm not a
given
doctor.
we live
I
in
just-
Pakistan, it's even more because the kinds of grounds and facilities we play at
Yeah.
are not good for
Especially
knees.
AstroTurf as well.
Yeah.
Because
And we're forced to play on turf so much because of the lack of facilities that you have to take twice as much care of your body and you have 1/10 the resources, you know. You have no option but to educate yourself on these things.
So you would suggest that players coming up would take care of their bodies, learn
Yeah.
about this stuff, because
Exactly.
if it isn't there, then take control of it yourself.
Yeah.
you have to
I
educate
know.
yourself
Yeah.
if you have to be at this level.
Yeah.
And you would also suggest that kids looking to get
Yeah.
into all kinds of programs, this
and
is a very
it actually is, it can be a very lucrative option because I know how hard, like, even in terms of recreational sports or people going to the gym, there's a massive demand for physiotherapy, and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and it's a very, very lucrative market right now. So
You can really exploit
you
it.
can make a lot of money.
You
yeah.
can make a lot
yeah.
of money. You don't have anybody over here.
Yeah.
yeah, and you have a national team that's willing to
Not just one national
take your
team, men's national teams,
There are so
other
many.
sports.
Oh, there's
There-
none for any of them.
Yeah, like
wow.
it-
Okay.
Not to the level that we
yeah,
want,
yeah, fair.
basically.
Wow, okay, great. This has been really, by the way, like all my questions that I've ever had to
Yeah.
ask any athlete. Because for me, I just sit, I'm the person on the other end who sits and watches.
Yeah.
And so I have all these questions that pop into my head because I'm like, oh, my favorite tennis player just got injured and can't play
Yeah.
in the next 3 slams. So what goes on? Like,
Yeah.
what is the team behind them? And
Yeah.
there's a full team behind all
Exactly,
of
yeah.
these professional sports. But like you guys, it's a testament to all of you that you power through and kind of empower yourselves in order to get there.
Yeah.
So good on you guys. how can we get more and more girls into, and this is a question for both of you, how can we get more and more girls into football?
I think we have a lot of girls into football now, like honestly
Already,
speaking.
yeah. Because I heard Karachi City, I think, has the most.
Yeah, we
Right?
have a lot of girls.
Yeah.
I think,
But
especially in.
we're a population, 240
obviously,
million.
you can't even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, to like, what I mean is make it very mainstream, that it's like a no-brainer. Parents are like, oh, they're choosing between, I don't know,
I think,
ballet and football.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think we even get a lot of hate for it because they're like, oh, this is a women's team. They don't even have a men's team, so generally.
I think it's a
Honestly,
good thing.
that's
Yeah,
a really
we're very
good-
happy with it.
You're focused
Yeah.
on this aspect, and that
Because
way,
it's different. Like
you're saying, you're providing security.
I think we're the first club that started with the women's team, not a men's team.
Yeah.
So, and I think we're very
Oh.
proud of that.
Yeah.
And I think what we expected and what we wanted. So when you were asking about what inspired you, I think the first time Soha and Eliza, when these girls played for the national team, when they went the first, so that is one day I
But-
was really happy and proud
Yeah.
of.
It's
Yeah.
a really good question because I think about it every day and I struggle for answers myself. Is like, how do we get more and more girls into football? Because we have a lot of girls.
Yeah.
We have the most girls, but our pool is really tiny. Like, when it goes back to competitions, we're playing the same players every time. Same
Right.
teams, same players.
Right.
In a country this big with that many girls, we should be having thousands and thousands more girls.
I think what she means is the girls that want to pursue it
Exactly,
professionally
yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
just girls playing football
No,
recreationally.
overall, I
Yeah.
also mean that mindset of like girls playing it for a bit
Yeah.
and then they move on
Giving
to
up,
other
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I am.
I think unless
Well
we,
into my
I
30s.
think well,
I would love to play.
I think
Yeah.
unless we have proper leagues, I don't
It's
think.
the visibility, like when you, like you said, if people see more success stories, you see girls in the media, you see women's football being shown on TV,
Yeah.
you realize the value of it, and I think it all goes back into investing into making it more professional. Is like,
And I think it's also answering all of those questions that parents normally have. Is
Yeah.
it safe for the girls
Exactly,
to go
yeah.
sit in a bus, go all the way?
That's true, yeah.
Or, if they're going for tournaments and stuff, is it safe to
I
send
think
them
for parents,
out to...
the normal question is how much are you going to get paid if you want to
yeah,
play
but
nationally?
Yeah.
like you said, I actually forgot about this, but when I initially started playing, my parents were not. Okay, they were very supportive, but my mom was like, "Why are you going to Mali or Liari?" Or
Yeah.
like, they were
Yeah.
like, "No," and I would like
Like,
fight
the
them.
Liari ground is amazing.
I would fight them, and like they would be calling like the people who are running the program saying, "What are you doing to my kid? Like, why are you letting them
It's
go
only
here?"
natural. I
And-
mean, they're going to in a country like Pakistan, in a city like
Yeah.
Karachi, and especially since they've lived a lot longer than we have, so they know
Yeah.
all the things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
They're going to be protective.
But yeah, also like now that I think of it, like seeing more, like people like Shahzeb and Adil who
Yeah.
are very respectable, and you feel very comfortable around men like them. Let's be
Right.
very honest, right? Like people have an issue being around men sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a very real problem. And when you see, no, like for real,
Yeah.
I've never felt uncomfortable around them. So,
Right.
but when you see like educated and responsible men like them making an environment,
Yeah.
parents automatically feel more comfortable. And like
Right.
if you have one conversation with Shahzeb or Adil, you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna leave my kid here, and then they'll be fine. And that's a very basic thing to talk about. It's underrated. Like,
no,
yeah.
but it's the most important.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you are
That's where it
providing a
starts,
safe
yeah.
space for parents and their kids.
Yeah.
And so that encourages more and more people
And
to
then
come
those
to you.
parents talk to other parents. It perpetuates
Yeah.
the whole cycle. It's like they're like, oh, my kid's going to football, and they'll be like, oh, women's football, like like what? And then they'll send their kid, and you just need one small thing to trigger that whole.
I think a lot of our success is due to what Suha just said. Like I think our whole team, like with Iman,
Yeah.
like Nida Baji,
Yeah.
we have a lot of people that Afsha who
Yeah.
are there in the ground, and it makes
Right.
everybody feel really comfortable. And then we have very family like environment.
Yeah.
So it's
So
that's what
essentially,
really
without
helps.
even trying, you guys are you're trying to bring it into the mainstream, and,
Yeah.
and it's working because girls are coming.
Yeah.
They're coming your way. Just to end on like a really positive note,
Yeah.
I want both of you to tell everyone one thing that, I mean, why is it that you think, we started this podcast with, if there was one sport that I'd play for the rest of my life, it would be football,
Yeah.
right? Like I was expecting one of you to say golf or something and
No,
throw me
no.
completely off.
No,
I would
no.
have fallen off the
I think
chair.
me and Soha, we are two really
we talk
with
about this
football.
so often. Is like we're actually just insane. You know,
Yeah.
we're like
I think
every
we're
day
both
we're
actually
texting
really-
each other like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah. No, but it's passion, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's like a way of life for you. Why should other young girls get into the sport and you know even come to Karachi City? Like what is it that you will offer them, and where can they go?
I think they can be the next Wahirani. And I think
I love
generally,
it.
I think for football, generally, what I personally feel is you need to have the love for the game, the passion. Because when I made this club, honestly, it wasn't to make money,
Mhm.
firstly. It wasn't because, okay, I'll just do this. It was just, I wanted to do something in football. And just like Soha said, she just wants to play football. So I think if you have the love for the game, you're just going to do stupid decisions like we did, and then you'll probably get success with it.
Yeah, and there's passion, there's love, there's the professional aspect of it. But like you said, it's a lifestyle, and a very cliche way of thinking is, but it's true. It's like, honestly, most of the things I've learned in life have been through football. It has made me a much better human being,
Right.
a much better person. I've become disciplined. I'm on time everywhere I go. I eat well. I take care of my health. I
Yeah.
sleep well. I drink water. Like those basic things that I didn't do before.
Right.
Because I wanted to become a footballer, I take care of myself in that way. But also, like, having relationships with other teammates and people, like, some of my best friends in college or even now, like, my teammates, it's a big community. Feeling part of a bigger purpose, like, feeling like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, generally every day I feel like, sometimes I feel like, what am I doing? But then you see, like, once in a while, you see things come out and you see that you're making a small change in whatever way you're doing. Like Shazib said, sometimes I play with the boys, and if I play well, then I feel like I've made a small change because
Yeah.
now they're going to take women's football seriously. Like,
Yeah.
people have different ways of thinking of empowerment in terms of what Karachi City does. But my way of empowerment has always been when someone sees a woman playing football well, they're going to take it seriously, and that is going to change their mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
And if I can do that, like even one small bit, I'm not just helping women in football, it's just changing the perception of women in general.
Yeah.
And that's something that pushes me to like I really want like people to take it seriously.
I
and
think, yeah, she's right. I think it's always about the small wins, and that you need to be very happy about them. Like, she played with men on Monday with a lot of my friends. So she was a bit worried. She's like, these are like, we normally play with the under 17s, under 19s.
Right.
So she was like, no. I was like, no, you'll do good.
Yeah.
And then she played. She had a very decent game. And then 2-3 of my friends messaged me. She's like, oh, she's amazing. She's such a good player.
Yeah.
So obviously, like she said, they take women seriously. They're like, we have women that can play at a good level.
100%.
And like generally, you spoke about what I would want to say to the upcoming generation. I think generally, don't look at it from a professional point of view, but as a kid, you should generally be into sports.
it's a
100%.
journey because
Teamwork, unity, discipline,
It teaches
a
you
lot of aspects.
all the things that she said. It teaches
Yeah.
you all of that.
but you also
Exactly.
never know where that journey is going to take you. Like it's
Exactly.
taken me so many beautiful places, met so many amazing people,
Right.
like experiences in
Yeah.
different countries we've been to so many different
It's
countries.
much better than just being on the phone and
Yeah, you just
what
never
our
know,
kids
like,
are up to these days.
You never know where you're going to end up and like how beautifully it's going to shape your
Yeah.
life.
Absolutely. I could not have wrapped it up any better than this. I just want to say more power to you guys, and you clearly inspired me also. I don't think I'm healthy enough to get into it, but hey, you never know. I might just come
Yeah.
play with you one day.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for this conversation in general and
Yes.
answering all of my random questions, because I've had them for so long, and I'm sure people listening also have had these questions.
No, thank you for having
And
us,
This was
It
really
was a pleasure
insightful.
being here, and
Yeah.
hopefully
We do this
see you on
again.
the field then. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, maybe I'll be the one watching and cheering you guys
No, we
on.
actually had we made a kick fit program in which we just wanted everybody
It's
to
a-
just come out for
a
a
recreation
kick-about.
program.
I
Recreation.
can come for that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm not playing against her.
No. Oh, she doesn't play in that group.
Her knees are way better than mine.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go
You
there.
would be surprised. at my
I'll play
knees.
with Iman.
Yeah. No, I think Iman's pretty solid. Like.
She's very good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I can bully her, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.